Hello, everyone. I'm the director for our New Zealand Registered Charitable Trust, Common Knowledge, and I'm a naturopath with 50 years of experience, and I had COVID in 2020 and worked very hard for myself using a lot of self-help things to stop myself from getting really, really sick and to continue to help myself through the 20 days that was really acute, and then for the months afterwards when I was in recovery. So a lot of you are still in recovery. And the question is what does this really mean? And when I'm reading on the long haul Facebook groups, this is what I'm hearing. And I want to try to explain why I'm hearing, why this is occurring, and what I think that we can do to help ourselves. As I've said in a number of videos, our mind, our emotion, and our body is us. Okay, so your mind, your emotion, your body, that's you. And modern medicine has had a tendency, as we know, to split things up. You have physical things, you have psychological things. And that's when natural health in the 70s, when I became a naturopath, was talking about holistic medicine. And that's right. You know, your mind, your emotions, and your body are you. So when a doctor is dealing with physical things like the heart palpitations that many of you are feeling, if you're going to a doctor for that, they're going to look at it as a heart problem. They're not even going to look at it as a neurological problem because that's not their specialty. And they're not going to necessarily look at it as a psychological problem because that's not their specialty. And vice versa. You go to a therapist, they're going to look at this as an anxiety. All these groups are, if you're being treated medically within those groups, and as I've said before, our trust is called Common Knowledge, and we believe you should use any and all healthcare systems. That's up to you. There's no, who should put any value on how you work for your own wellness. So if you go to a psychologist and they feel you're anxious, they'll give you medications to reduce your anxiety from that viewpoint. If you go having heart palpitations, even if those are not serious and life-threatening and could be panic attacks, then the cardiologists are going to give you heart medications that reduce the anxiety. And that's true of neurologists. If they can't find anything that's specifically neurological, then they give you things that help reduce your anxiety. So anxiety is another name for you living in your sympathetic nervous system. And as I said in previous ones, when I heard the word sympathetic, I thought that was the good one. And no, now I know it's not. So the sympathetic nervous system is your fright, flight, fight, and freeze. And we talked about that in the #1 video of this and how that exhibits itself. If you go and just read through long haul posts, you can hear the fright, the fight, the flight, and the freeze. People are pissed off. They don't know what to do. They get discouraged. It's a thing, and it is a thing, and nobody should minimize this thing. And we are stuck, not between a rock and a hard place. We're stuck with choices. We can either just hope that the medical profession, all of the different modalities of it, get their shit together and figure it out and then can give us a pill to cure or eliminate our symptoms, or we can just do nothing, which most of us feel we're stuck in, or we can use self-help. We can either go through traditional health care if you have a strong tradition that uses healthcare. For instance, there's wonderful Chinese medicine, there's wonderful herbal medicines from Western countries, there's meditations from India, there's Ayurvedic medicines, there's homeopathic medicines. Those are all, in many ways, traditional medicines. Then there's natural healthcare. And those are somewhat new. They incorporate a lot of the traditional stuff. So you can use those. And why not? I do, because that's my experience. My experience isn't in modern medicine. I have no license to prescribe, treat, or diagnose, don't want to take responsibility for anyone else. I want to take care of myself. So one of the women in the group sent me this from Caring Medical, and I'm sure they're going to absolutely love that I'm promoting them. But why not promote something that's really, really good? They have 4 pages of self-help. And what are they trying to self-help? They're trying to help you, instead of living in your sympathetic nervous system of fight, flight, fight, and freeze, they would like you to learn how to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is to feel calm. Okay. So this is what I want to help you understand about your body, your emotions, and your mind. When our body is sick, our mind knows that, and our emotions feel that. Sometimes we don't know in what way we're sick. It's not obvious. It's not acute. It can be chronic. It can be vague. But our body knows it's not well, and it's throwing off into our mind that awareness because it in itself can't act on itself. Our mind has to become aware and then make decisions and make choices. And that's why our trust wrote that early COVID thing. If you feel unwell, so that's the unwell. The body lets us know I'm unwell. And then we wrote out the COVID self-help things that are on the first of the playlist of the COVID things on our YouTube channel, Birthing Better. We have somehow have 3 of them, so find the one that has 276 subscribers to it, and there's a COVID playlist. And I'll put it on this, I'll put it into YouTube when I'm finished with this. So when our body's unwell, we first COVID, and I recognized it very early, and I'd been doing a lot of research in Asia about very early symptoms. I started to do things. So my mind chose to do things for my body. I couldn't cure it, I couldn't eliminate it, but because I recognized it very early on, I was working to reduce the viral load in my body and continue to work with my body to help my body deal with this new thing. So that's the mind working together with the body. How did I feel emotionally? Well, I knew I had it, and I got very anxious. And so I had to deal with that. I didn't want my sympathetic nervous system to start to go up, because when it does go up, your cardiovascular system, all your 100,000 miles of blood vessels close down in your heart as well, and the alveoli in your lung as well, and your body doesn't metabolize as well. And so I knew that if I got very stressed, that I was activating this reactive immune reaction when my body needed to have my immune system ready to fight the virus. So I had to work using my mind to also change my emotional mindset. It's not easy, but we can do it. And some of these techniques listed are things that are trying to help you do it. So let's refresh. When our body is unwell, our mind knows that. So many of you who have brain fog, my personal belief, may not be medically sound, is that your body is still throwing off metabolic waste products. And that it's really important. The one simplest thing you can do is orally rehydrate. I've seen a lot of people drinking a lot of Gatorade. Why go buy Gatorade? You know, I'm sorry, but a little salt and a little bit of sweet in warm water. Put a tiny amount of juice in it if you want a flavor in it. Why get all that plastic and throw it out? I mean, honestly, we live on a planet. We have to take care of it. Our planet's our mother body, and our mind is choosing to go to the store and buy lots of Gatorade and throw out trash. That doesn't make sense. So instead, make it up yourself, drink it warm. I've also watched a lot of people sipping it. Sipping does not hydrate you. You need to glug, glub, drink, 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 until your body goes, that's enough. Not until, oh, just that's enough. That takes usually about 15 swallows. And then wait a few hours and do it again. If your lips are dry at all, if your skin stays up when you pinch it, you're dehydrated. And if you have brain fog, it is very important that you let your system clean out any metabolic waste products. That may not be the only reason, but it's a good place to start. There are, of course, lots of brain herbal combinations out there, and you can research that. We have Google now, for God's sakes, so use it. So if our mind, so if we dealt with our body, if our body feels sick, our mind becomes aware and our emotion becomes aware. Okay, if our body's well and we're having emotions, angers, fears, hatreds, annoyances, irritations, all those things, that affects our body and that affects our mind. Our mind tries to put words to it, but emotions can't be explained in words. And our body feels it because it drives us back into that fright, flight, fight, freeze. So when we have negative emotions, it impacts our body and it impacts our mind because we story tell to ourselves and we repeat that story over and over again of why we have these negative emotions. So we are impacted by our negative emotions. So when you're in recovery and you feel despair and anger and freaked outness and disappointing with your doctor and don't know what to do and want to give up, you're stimulating your sympathetic nervous system. And why are you often doing that? Because for the past 30 years, our lives have gotten faster, 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 faster. And the sympathetic nervous system is addiction. We are addicted to it. Remember the expression, I'm bored? And what do people say? Get up and do something. Why? Why not just lie back and look at the clouds? Why not just take a nap? Why not just stroke your cat? That's the parasympathetic nervous system. So we're high-wired. And I would bet 99% of people who got COVID were high-wired. Okay. I probably got COVID because I'm old. I have a predisposition genetically to having a weak immune system. And chance. Who knows who gets it? But if you recognize that you are a high-strung person and you're more high-strung now, then you have a lot of self-help work to do to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. I knew how before. When I recognized I got sick, I used those skills all through this period of time. Still got sick. So we've now dealt with our body. Our body feels poorly. Our mind feels poorly. Our emotions feel that. If our emotions feel poorly, our body feels poorly. Our mind knows that. If our mind has an experience in which we feel poorly, that drives our emotions, and that sinks into our body, into that sympathetic nervous system. So we are us. Each of us is ourself. And we have to figure out what to do on a day-to-day basis, on a moment-to-moment basis. And people say, what do you mean, moment-to-moment? Time just passes. No, we live time. It doesn't pass. We live it. And we live it moment to moment. We live it through each breath in and each breath out. We live it by every word that comes out of our mouth. I am living time now. And you're listening to time now. And so we can fill that time with things we do, with ways we feel, or with how we think. Okay, so this is a list. This is the second page. Listen to music, uplifting, happy, grateful lyrics versus complaining, bitter, spiteful lyrics. That makes sense, right? Negative emotions, positive emotions, sympathetic nervous system. Fright, flight, fight, and fear. Parasympathetic nervous system, calm, tranquil, at ease. And as I said in the last one, YouTube, research, bazillion brainwave things. Pick a brainwave thing that you particularly like, plug it in, go about your business, and just let your brain waves begin to stabilize to that particular frequency. Lots of music, lots of sleep music, lots of all sorts of things, right? Just if you're a music listener, listen to it. Somebody else posted about the humming or the whispering, that there are lots of YouTube ones about the benefits of listening to whispering. Or listen, some people just go to sleep by listening to the radio. Sing, okay? Every culture sings. There are some religions that stop you from singing and stop you from dancing, but every culture around the world sings, makes music, dances, and often quite ceremonially around special occasions. If you're a COVID long haul person, you are in a special occasion. You're trying to help your body get rid of any residual COVID virus, which we have no idea. It can stay in our system just like pinworms can stay in our intestines, right? Or bacteria if we have an infection. Or we're helping our body heal. And we help our body heal most by being calmer. It helps our body heal. And we can sometimes direct our attention. I just would like my mind to feel better. I just would like to not keep repeating those negative emotions. I just would like my heart to just calm down. Just feel loved and embraced. We can do these things little by little, not because we get cured or this is eliminated, but because little by little, every little bit helps. Massage. I'd get up and get it, a portable massage thing from Amazon or online. Cost me, I don't know, $25. And it has, different heads to it and some of them can be hot. It's massage. Or if you're with a partner, massage each other. Just pick one part of the body and do that. You don't have to do a whole body massage. If a person's neck is tight, just massage their neck. And if you want to exchange it, then say, okay, well, my foot's tired, so have them massage your foot. You don't have to do it for an hour. You can do it for 5 minutes. Meditate. Well, that's an interesting one. In the early 1970s, I met a lovely woman who went to India, sat in a cave and meditated. Then she went to Fiji on her way back to the States and didn't like Fiji because the women didn't want to leave her alone. They wouldn't interfere with her meditation. They just thought it was abnormal for a young woman to go off by herself and not be involved in the community. I worked in Fiji for a year in the villages as a natural health provider and ran clinics. And very, very, very social. They were so social, I realized that I had to go lie by the side of the bure and just take a nap. So I could do that. Or I put my head on someone's lap and they'd nitpick for lice in my hair. And it was very relaxing, very soothing. That's why monkeys do that. They're soothed. That's why animals lick each other and cuddle together, because it's soothing. That's the parasympathetic nervous system. Because animals understand the sympathetic nervous system. They understand fright, flight, fight, and freeze. So we're animals. We just have this amazing cortex. So meditation comes in several forms. Lots of meditation on YouTube. Google it. Okay. You can go off and meditate, or you can become more zen. In other words, slowing yourself down when you're chopping vegetables rather than thinking of all the things that you have to do. If you're chopping vegetables and thinking about all the things you have to do, you're living in your sympathetic nervous system. If you start to chop vegetables and and this, isn't it funny? We see all these cooking shows where everybody's moving at the speed of light, but that they're probably not thinking of other things, right? They're just moving at the speed of light, condensed in that. And is that healthy to do? No, it's not. Can people sustain it for a long period of time? No, they can't. Okay, so for you to develop a parasympathetic nervous system about chopping, it's not that you have to go slow as molasses. You have to stay focused, and when other thoughts come into your mind, you just refocus yourself to chopping. If you could do that for 5 seconds, pat yourself on the back. If it can extend to 10 seconds, great. And then the idea of meditation, some meditation system says you want to get rid of thoughts in your mind. Other meditation systems say you can't, so just let them pass through. How do you know they're passing through? Because what we do is we capture them and then we start talking the story around them. That's how we get into the sympathetic nervous system. We move from letting thoughts pass through us to capturing one and then developing a story around it. So meditate. Nostril breathing. I talk about this a lot, and in our playlist of COVID, I do some breathing things, and those are research challenges for you to do and for you to report on. Nose breathing is parasympathetic, mouth breathing is sympathetic. Even in the nose, out the mouth, that's more sympathetic than parasympathetic. Breathing in and out the nose is very calming. It also helps you produce, and distribute nitric oxide that we've talked about. Nitric oxide opens up all of your 100,000 miles of blood vessels, and when you nose breathe and calm your breathing down, then you're developing what's called a carbon dioxide tolerance. And that carbon dioxide tolerance is resetting the breathing center in your brain, and having more carbon dioxide in your system frees the oxygen from your molecules, your blood cells, and distributes it. If you have good nitric oxide and you have open cardiovascular system, that oxygen is distributed to your heart, to the alveoli inside your lungs, and you're not as fatigued, you're not as tired. And that's good, because sometimes the fatigue comes from the sympathetic nervous system and from not feeling well physically. And so you help your body to clean itself out, to detox, and you distribute oxygen out there. Now, everybody is obsessed about oxygen stats. High-level athletes like low oxygen in their system, down around 84 or lower. Most people having COVID would go into a panic attack. Most people having COVID do not have good carbon dioxide tolerance. That carbon dioxide isn't really distributing the oxygen through your body the way it is when you have good carbon dioxide tolerance. So just nose breathing begins to develop that. And how do you know that you're being successful? One is you start to feel warmer. You can feel sort of a tingly here. That's the blood vessels opening up. Also, if you count how many breaths per minute you have, most people are breathing 12 to 20 times a minute, but a person with good carbon dioxide tolerance is going to be breathing 6 to 12 times a minute, which means that they're not breathing as frequently, which means they're pausing. And the pausing means that they have good carbon dioxide tolerance. They don't feel the need to breathe in as rapidly as people who don't have good carbon dioxide tolerance and feel they're not getting enough oxygen. You have enough oxygen. People having asthma attacks have plenty of oxygen, but they feel breathless. So when you're breathless, you're in your sympathetic nervous system. You want to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, and nose breathing does that over time. Praying, however you do it. Reflexology. Google reflexology. There's going to be maps all over. Press things on your feet, left, right, and center. If you can't do it with your hands, get a pen or something, and you use that to press on those points. Regularly move your body. YouTube, search up gentle exercises sitting down or gentle exercises lying in bed. I like somatic, Somatic. I'm a somatic body worker. Gentle movement, gentle movement. but it works with our connective tissue and it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system. Google it, YouTube, bazillion of them. Say thank you. This is an interesting one. We teach our children to say thank you, and then you hear this voice, thank you, right? Okay, thank you. You need to feel that. That's the gratitude of the first page on this. You have to feel it. And what are you giving thanks for? Well, being alive, taking your next breath in, the sun, rain, snow, hearing the dogs bark, anything that you, for that micro moment, feels calmer. Thank it and stretch out that time, and that's called meditation. Smile as much as possible. This is a good one. I do a lot of Taoist work, and one of the first meditations is called the inner smile. And this is what they start with. Just sit still and turn the corners of your mouth up and wrinkle your eyes a little bit and see how that feels. And then turn this down. See how you feel. I'm a laughter yoga teacher. Look up laughter yoga. Smile. Remember, turn that up. Wrinkle these. See what happens. It's instantaneous. The more you stay here, the less you stay there. Take probiotics or eat probiotics. Okay, here's the thing. There are prebiotics, probiotics, and what are called IG factors. We need all three of them. The IG factors create a scaffold on the inside of your intestines that the prebiotics can sit on, and the probiotics can eat the prebiotics. So do a little research. Get something that gives you FOS or GOS. They're usually lozenges, and suck them, and then take pre and probiotics. Visit with people who lift your spirit up versus those who make you feel crummy. Sometimes you have to be that person. Okay. We have these COVID Facebook groups. We want to embrace and welcome people who are very much in their sympathetic nervous system and feeling crappy. We want to also be doing things together that help us little by little feel better over time. Nobody knows what this is all about. But you know what? The next moment you don't know what it's about. That's how quick you can die. And you can't say after you're dead, don't want to do that. So live each moment in the now. Because now is where I am. Now is where you are. We can use our cortex to future trip, or we can use our cortex to remember in the past. But right now is where we're living. And my hope is that when you visited with me today, and when I visited with you today, that I uplifted your spirits rather than make you feel crummy. It's my hope. We'll see. So this is a research project. Do any of these for this week. Make a list of how you feel. Score them from 1 to 10, 10 being worse. And then just do any of these. Or in the first page, I'll do the third and the fourth page coming up. And then at the end of the week, rescore yourself. Some things may not have changed at all. Some things may even have gotten a bit worse. And some things would have gotten better. When people say to me, I don't feel better, I just say to them, do you feel 0.00000000000000000000001 better? When they laugh is when I put the 1 in. So when you laughed, that's when you put the 1 in. We're not static. This is dead. We do this. When we're unwell, we're doing this. You're trying to reduce the intensity of the symptoms. You're trying to shorten how long they last. And you're trying to put a space in between them so that they move more like this. We don't want to be flat. We just want to feel better longer. So thanks for listening. Please share this. Please pass this around. And I'll put the link to the COVID playlist on this so that y'all know how to watch all the other ones. And go to some of the COVID Facebook groups and search for me there. And the first two of them have that self-help guide when you first feel ill, and they are things to use. I use them for months and months, and yesterday I just did some more again because I'm not feeling very well, and they helped. All right, take care, bye-bye.